Today I decided to start a new vlog on kind of a few work days in my life, what it's like working in Germany so far, and share my experience. If you're new here, my name is Aracely and I recently moved to Munich about 4 or 5 months ago from the US with my fiance Patrick, our dog Dublin, and we're both full-time engineers. We both work in Munich and we live in Munich, so there are a lot of differences that I've kind of picked up on over these past few months working here, and I really wanted to share them in case you're interested in moving to Germany or Europe. And I think it could be interesting for you guys to see the differences between working in the US and working in Germany. So I actually work for Intel, a very worldwide known company. We have sites all over the world. So I was very fortunate to find this role in Munich and get the job and make this big transition. For me, it's a little bit different because we are an American company, whereas Patrick works for a Munich-based company. Mine still has kind of like that American work culture, which is interesting. So yeah, I thought it'd be fun to share, and if you're interested, keep on watching, but let's get started with the workday. So I am in my workspace right now. I actually work on our highest level of our house. We live in kind of a townhome style. It's called a Zweifamilienhaus. It's basically a house where you share one wall with another family. We share one wall with a couple, and they're super nice, super great neighbors. I really like it, and we still have like our yard, our patio area, which is really nice. And then we have a basement, a ground floor, and then a first floor. So I work in the first floor, a little balcony area. I kind of claimed this as my work zone because Patrick goes into the office a lot more than I do. I go maybe once a week, if that, and yeah, it's not very common that I am going into the office, so I wanted more of a private space. I also have a lot of customer calls, so I'm actually a technical account manager in sales, so a lot of customer facing things going on with my schedule, and it's nice to have some privacy and be able to not have background noise. So yeah, that is kind of like my work zone here. Yeah, I already got ready for the day. I like to get ready when I work from home because I have calls where I need to turn on my camera and just a little bit of makeup. So I started planning out my workday. I just use this very simple planner. It's important to see where I have free time and then try to fill it when it's the workday. So I start off with my morning routine and then emails prepping for the day, which is kind of what I've already started doing. And then from there, any meetings I have with customers or internal calls. So I also finally got a work phone, which is amazing. Well, I got it a few months ago, but it's really nice to have a German phone number, and it's a company phone, so I list it in my email signature. Dublin, my dog, likes to lay down over there after she spends some time on the balcony behind me. So it's nice to have her company, but I'm actually going to get started on my 9 a.m. meeting. And I use these Bose headphones that I love, the quality on these, and then I also use them when I go on long flights. Then one thing, I kind of offset it a little bit off my head because then I can still hear myself and how loud I'm being on calls. So we are back from our little excursion. We rode our bikes and it was a lot more intense than I was anticipating. It took us through these crazy roads. Most of the time there wasn't a bike lane, which is actually kind of rare. From our experience living in Munich, there are bike lanes everywhere, but for some reason the route that Google Maps decided to take us on was pretty crazy. So Friday, everyone. It has been a pretty relaxed day today, kind of a cozy day. It's finally raining in Munich after having a pretty intense heat wave, so I really like that. So I threw on a sweater, I'm all cozy. Yeah, pretty easygoing work day. I think Fridays, I usually like to use them to wrap up anything that I had going on through the week, any tasks that I didn't take care of because of either having a very busy meeting heavy work week. Only a couple meetings today, which is really nice, and I wanted to use my break to talk to you guys about some of the differences about working in the US versus working in Germany. So the biggest difference, I would say, is that if you're taking a salary job here in Germany, you actually still have to keep track of your hours. This is mandatory, so I keep track of my hours through an online tool that we use. So I check in and check out when I start work, when I end work, and then when I take any breaks, any like 15-minute breaks, any lunch breaks, they also have to be taken within a certain time frame of when you started working. So that's also something to be aware of. Work your 8 hours every day, 40 hours a week. But if you work over 8 hours, up to 10 hours, because legally you cannot work more than 10 hours a day, those extra hours become flexible time that you can use as additional time off, in addition to your amazing vacation time. So here in Munich, I actually have 6 weeks of time off, and in the US, I think I had 2 or 3 weeks off for the year. So it's a huge difference. I really like it, obviously, having additional time off. It's something to get used to because here you actually have to take the time off, versus in the US the work culture is very who can work the longest type of work environment, versus here you definitely are encouraged to have that work-life balance, and parental leave is amazing. I've heard great stories about that from colleagues who have recently had kids. And then in Bavaria, you actually have the most public holidays, I think, in Germany. And then in my new role, a little bit more details of what I do and my experience with it. So I am a technical account manager. I am in a very customer-facing role. I meet with a lot of customers. It is very cool to see where Intel products are actually used, and I really do enjoy my job. I enjoy meeting with people from various countries. I cover Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. With my role, I actually do travel a lot. I would travel a lot more if COVID wasn't a thing. Lately, I've been traveling to a few conferences. And my first trip was actually to Prague. I was there for about 4 days. It was so fun to be able to just go to Prague on a business trip. My second trip was actually to another conference in Nuremberg, and that one was so cool. I got to meet customers from all over the European territory. It was not just Germany. And then my third conference recently was in Munich. So it was, all I can say is if you take a role like what I am doing, you're only going to grow, and you're going to grow so fast because you're kind of thrown in the deep end. And something to note about Munich is that it is very tech heavy. It is almost like a Silicon Valley version in Germany. And recently we went to a barbecue, and I think everyone there actually worked in tech, worked at Nvidia, Apple, very tech heavy. So that's something to also be mindful of if you're looking to get into the tech industry. This is a very good city to do that. Also be mindful, the taxes in Munich and Germany are very, very high. You will be taxed a lot. You may think that you're getting a very high paying job, but just be mindful that most of your pay will be going to taxes. That's just how it is. But I appreciate that I at least have a very clean city to live in, a very safe city, health insurance, and all these things. I am not an expert by any means, so do not take my word verbatim, because you should do your own research. But people always ask if you have to speak German, if you have to be in the office every day, if you want to work in Germany. And for speaking German, I will say in my office, everyone speaks German. I would say 99% of the time I only hear German. I do not hear English very often, and it is very challenging because yes, they will switch to English if you ask, but they really do appreciate if you try speaking German with them. They appreciate speaking German. They like to speak their language. They're very proud of it, and it makes sense. In Mexico, my family appreciates speaking Spanish there, right? So that's the comparison I draw, is my experience growing up in a Mexican household, how we prefer to speak Spanish at home. That's kind of how it is in Germany. They prefer to speak German. If they don't have to speak English, they won't. At least in my office, that's how it is. But there are roles where you don't have to be fluent in German. You don't have to speak German in the office that much. And an example is Patrick, my fiance. He has an office that's based here in Munich, and it's a very international team. So they speak German at the office, but they also speak a lot of English because people are from all over the world. But then you can also speak German if you want to. So I think that's kind of like the best of both worlds. So some office cultural differences, I would say. So one of them is more formal writing when it comes to emails. So my emails, they usually begin with "Dear Mr. Blank." If I have not met this person before, if I am not casual with them, I will not use their first name, and they will not use my first name if they have never had a call with me. If they've never had an interaction with me, they will use my last name as well. And then if you don't know if they're female or male, you just leave out the Mr., Miss, Mrs., and then you just put their last name. And I've had that happen to me because sometimes you can't tell if the name is female or male. At least in my email signature, I do put she, her, for them to be aware that I am female and that I go by that pronoun. So if you're not on a more casual note with them and you're writing an email in German, you use the Z formal. Another thing to be aware of is being on time to things in general, but being on time to meetings specifically is just something you have to get used to. I know in the US, we are always running late to things. We are never on time, and that's just the norm. We're all aware of that, and that's fine. But then here, you're expected to be on time. So a lot of my teammates love to start meetings a few minutes early just to make sure that they're on time, because if you're not early, you're not on time. So that is something that I actually appreciate and I'm starting to get used to and get in the habit of, is making sure that I'm ready to go as soon as the meeting begins. And then in my role, I'm actually a hybrid employee. So that means I mostly work from home. If I'm not going into the office for customer meetings or team meetings, I don't have to be there. I can work from home, or I can go see customers, which is what my role is dedicated for anyway. So it makes sense that I'm in a hybrid role. But there are roles now that are fully remote. If you look around on the internet, you'll find something. If you're not looking to be in the office every day, things have changed a lot. But so far my experience has been really great. Obviously there are some bad days or some bad moments, but overall I will say I love my job. I love what I do. It is not my life though. It's not what I came to Germany necessarily to do. I came here to live in Germany, live in this beautiful city, and enjoy my life outside of work. So be mindful of that you don't have to be obsessed with your job to be happy. So that's all I had to say. I am gonna go have a quick snack and then get back to work and finish off the workday. So see you guys later.